So we've covered a lot of stories here on the Changavi Show, right? I'm talking everything from sports to pop culture to actual news events. And this is the 30th one. This is the Chef Curry number 30, the Dirty 30. So we've done a lot. And frankly, there have been a lot of issues that have really gotten a lot of attention from particular demographics of my audience. And this hijab row issue was one of those issues that really attracted a large majority of people to the conversation. They started talking to me. They started saying that, oh, hijab row, this, that, and the other. There's been a lot going on in regards to this issue. And there's some people that are like, why are you talking about this? Like, obviously, like I said, so let me backtrack for a second. Hold on. So when I first put this topic out about hijab row, I believe it was on like episode 23 or 24. I got a little bit of backlash from people. A lot of people, because this is taking place in my parents' home state of Karnataka. There were a few people that came in my DMs and said, "Why are you talking like this about your home country or your parents' home country? Like you shouldn't be saying this stuff." It was pretty negative. I was very negative, vocally negative on Narendra Modi, on the BJP, on the way that they've handled the situation in Karnataka. And I will continue to be negative about that. But I just want everyone to know that I've gotten a little bit of backlash on that from other people as well. Not just on Instagram, but on TikTok, on other platforms. There has been a lot of negativity towards my Indian political content in particular, from like direct relatives of mine and people in my family. There's been a lot of negativity towards this issue. But let's talk about it for a second, because listen, hijab row, there's been a lot that's happening. And the way we left the story off last time, or the way I left it off, was I said that it basically nothing was going to happen unless the Karnataka High Court made a decision, which is like the equivalent of like a state court in America, right? So like if the California state court hasn't said anything, then nothing is going to happen. Well, the Karnataka state court did say something. And basically they upheld the decision that was being made in these colleges or in these high schools for American terms, which is you should not wear the hijab when entering a classroom to take an exam or to even just like participate in education. So they upheld that decision. And listen, that's obviously going to cause a pretty emotional reaction in a lot of people. But I guess the good news is that there are a lot of Muslim advocacy groups and a lot of Muslim people who have brought this issue and are trying to bring it to the Indian Supreme Court. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So, I mean, like I said, we talked about how Indian politics tends to be very supportive of Hindus, which is true. And let me kind of refresh you on what's going on hijab row for a second too, because what's happening, like I said, is that Muslim girls are basically feeling ostracized in that they aren't allowed to wear the hijab in educational institutions throughout Karnataka. And there were a lot of protests in the street, a lot of counter protests from Hindus, a lot of protests from Muslims. And eventually it got so bad that the Karnataka chief minister had to shut down high schools in Karnataka, in the state of Karnataka, for 3 days. So there was a lot of tension going on. A lot of people were talking about it. It was kind of a big deal, but the high court hadn't done anything. So nothing really was getting done theoretically in terms of everything that was going on. So here's the thing now is that the high court upheld the college's decision, like I said, and there continues to be a lot of tension from Muslim girls and the Hindu population. It's that Muslim-Hindu divide and that struggle that we've seen throughout Indian history for many years take shape in another issue that's going on here with the hijab row. And unfortunately, I mean, you know where I stand. I have a clear opinion on this, but I don't want to provide that opinion. I want to educate you guys. It's a sad situation as to what's going on because people are getting hurt. It's not more so about this issue, but people are getting hurt on both sides. The protests have led to injuries and deaths, and that's not good. But here's the thing. I've been presented this counter argument by multiple people the last couple of days. Like I said, this is a topic that was met with a lot of negativity. And it was something that really was presented to me the last couple of days. And basically what people told me was that the hijab really does represent a symbol of patriarchy. The hijab in the context of modern whatever we have going on here represents a lot of bad issues and represents a lot of patriarchal tensions with with Muslim women in particular. And so that's the counter is like, oh, what? Why are you promoting that? But here's the thing, and this is what, and a lot of Hindu people in my life have said, Anuj, Hindu people have been banned from a lot of things in India. They've been banned from a lot of stuff in India. It's true, they have. But the people that quote this are saying that a lot of Hindus have banned things such as sati, such as widow balding, which is basically where they used to like shave the woman's head off, shave the woman's hair off when the man passed away. That was banned back in the 80s or in the 70s, I believe. So some Hindu customs have been banned. But here's the thing. My response to that is very simple. You are arguing to me Hindu, or you are arguing to me customs versus symbols. The hijab is a religious symbol. It is a symbol that is worn throughout the world by Muslim women. Yes, I understand the argument that a lot of Muslim communities force their women to wear the hijab. But at the end of the day, you cannot enforce in every single micro Muslim community. As a government, you cannot enforce in every single micro Muslim community for them to socially allow the women to make the right decision. The only thing that you can do is provide a choice. And India is a secular country. That is what is written in its constitution. It is written that they will tolerate every single religion practice, whether that be Christian, Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, which are the four majority religions in the country, and they will be tolerant of those things. And the fact is that the constitution is really being violated in Karnataka because of the fact that the colleges are not allowing Muslim women to wear the hijab. The hijab may have these connotations within Hindu or within Muslim society and throughout the world. There have been a lot of women that have protested against wearing the hijab. But at the end of I say at the end of the day, and here's the thing so much. But listen, seriously, the hijab, it should be a choice. If you want to wear it, wear the hijab. If you don't want to wear it, don't wear the hijab. And if your community is forcing you to wear it, there is nothing that anybody else can do to prevent that from happening. That is the reality of the situation. You cannot have the government monitor every single Muslim community and sub-community and, do all of that. It's just not feasible. And yes, it's symbol versus action. Right? You look at sati. Sati, for those of you that don't know, in India is when it used to happen in Hindu religion in particular, is when the husband died, the woman would walk into the fire to join her husband and basically she would burn to death. That was what sati was. So if Hindu people are saying, getting in my DMs and also talking to me in person and saying, yo, sati and widow balding are equivalent to wearing the hijab, I don't think so. In widow balding and in sati, you are harming individuals. You are harming a person. A person is dying or a person is being harmed by their hair being taken out without their consent. There is harm being done. Someone wearing the hijab does not cause harm. And if it causes harm to you, then maybe there's some internal biases that you need to check. That is my opinion, but that's also the truth. If you are wearing the hijab and you feel harmed by that, that is a lot of internal that's some internal things that you need to work through personally as an individual. But I see the tension on the other side, right? Because it seems to be coming from this pro-Hindu crowd, and particularly in Karnataka, like I mentioned in the piece a few episodes ago, which, by the way, you should go check out if you're more interested in all the information. About 85% of people in Karnataka are Hindu. It's one of the most high Hindu majority states in all of India. And so, yeah, but okay. Let's get into the update, right? So the District Court of Karnataka upheld the decision. They basically said Muslim women are going to have to continue to not wear the hijab in educational institutions. But it has been brought to the attention of the Supreme Court of India. Unfortunately, though, the Supreme Court of India has continued to push the hearing as they don't cite it as an urgent matter. They have it going through the traditional process, which takes quite a bit of time, like 6 to 8 months. As normal Supreme Court cases, even here in America, do. So it's going through the normal process, and they're not rushing this case. They're calling it media sensationalism, and they cited various things like the holy holiday that recently happened a couple of weeks ago for this issue not being important right now. Okay, listen, the Supreme Court of India is saying these things, but here are the stats. Here are these specific statistics, and you guys make your decision yourself. I don't want to get super conspiracy theory, but here's the fact of the Supreme Court of India. I did some research. The Supreme Court of India, in the history of India, has had like 15 to 17 Muslim judges. In a country that has a huge population of about 15% of its individuals identifying with Islam as their primary religion. Shouldn't there be more Muslim judges if 15% of the population in India, which by the way has over a billion people now, shouldn't there be more judges on the Supreme Court? Shouldn't there be more judges related to that? It's the same problem that America has with African Americans, but at least you're seeing that representation play out in front of you. You have Ketanji Brown Jackson, who's most likely going to be confirmed. You have Clarence Thomas, who is sitting on the court right now. You've had African American justices. You've had 15 in the history of India being an independent nation. I don't know, man. I don't know. And most of the judges that I could look at now and I could examine are Hindu. And so listen, to them, this issue perhaps may not be pressing. But at the same time, I think it's an issue that's breaking the Constitution. So in my opinion, I believe that this is a huge violation of the Constitution and should be brought to the India Supreme Court immediately. I think so. But yes, here's the thing. The way the court is viewing hijab row is really the way the broader government is also viewing hijab row. The BJP, Narendra Modi, and his whole government is basically trying to turn a blind eye to hijab row. Because let's be real, a lot of the BJP, and a lot of Hindus can agree with me on this, the BJP is treating this like a local uprising that doesn't have a lot of national media attention behind it, that doesn't have a lot of mainstream media attention behind it, and there's not a lot of people that are putting pressure on the government to enact something. So they can just go about their business, pretend like this thing doesn't exist, and move on, right? It's going through the court process. It'll take 6 to 8 months. But the fact is, this is an issue that's affecting Muslim women now, and Muslim women in India are amongst one of the least educated demographics. And so the Muslim women that are going to the schools that wear the hijab for whatever reason that may be are forced to not wear it anymore because of some stupid law. And so now they're prevented from even entering an educational institution, and they're already in one of the lowest educated demographics in all of India. So it's a sad update in reality. But the fact is, there isn't a lot that can be done, except for people like me, maybe content creators, maybe more journalists, reporters, people who have higher platforms than I do. Because let's be real, I don't have a big platform. But a lot of people can just spread awareness about this, because this is happening right now in India. And a lot of people in my life have told me there's much bigger issues going on in India. Why should they care about this? This is pretty big, in my opinion. So I think it does deserve some attention to the conversation, because there's a lot of conversations being had. There's two sides to the argument, which each have their merit, like I discussed. The one side where it's violating religious freedom, and the other side where hijab is against, or hijab is a very patriarchal symbol, and it should continue to be banned. There's both sides. They both have their merit. It's fair. But the South Asian community isn't talking about this in reality. I've been looking through Reddit. I've been looking through mainstream articles. There's maybe 2 or 3 from like international news outlets outside of India that are really talking about this issue, because it's a big deal. And the saddest part is the word isn't being spread. And I think the least that someone can do is start bringing this issue to light, because it's happening. It's affecting education, and it's affecting a significant group in a state of India where frankly, I mean, Bangalore is considered the IT capital of the world. And the reality is, in one of the most education centered areas of the country, because Bangalore is the IT capital of the world, which is located in Karnataka, and Karnataka is known for its IT. Really, you are pretty much excluding and making it uncomfortable for a specific group of individuals who already have had educational disadvantage within India to not get an education. And that's rough. That is rough. So I just thought I would talk about it, and I would talk about the update that Karnataka has continued to stand forth with their actions, which is kind of crazy the more and more you think about it.